The trial captivating a nation.
Talking about when those taillight pieces were found.
Video was played for the jury of Karen Reed's SUV in a secure area at the Canton Police Department. The car arrived a little before the first piece of broken taillight was found at the scene. The defense alleges evidence might have been planted. Proctor was seen on camera near Reed's broken taillight.
This unequivocally shows that Michael Proctor walked toward the right rear area of that SUV.
NBC 10 News has the latest on the retrial of Karen Reed.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gene Valicenti. Joining me is Austin Dana, our legal analyst, who has joined us periodically. Hi, Austin. Thanks for being with us. This is closing arguments day. We've had the defense wrap up. The state is right now in the midst of presenting its closing arguments. It's supposed to go about an hour and 15 minutes. We're starting just after 12 o'clock our time, so we can move this along. It's an unusual day. After this, the judge is going to deliver instructions to the jury, and then the case goes to the jury. Austin, your take so far on what you've heard, particularly with the defense's closing arguments. Did they make any points that are going to resonate with the jury?
I think they made a number of points that are going to resonate with the jury. They went through meticulously all of the evidence in the case, and they raised reasonable doubt after reasonable doubt. The most compelling of which is there was no collision. This car never hit John O'Keefe. And that kept coming back up again and again in Alan Jackson's closing argument. And I think that the jury's going to have that resonate with them when they get back into deliberations.
All right. So now there were two defense witnesses who stated that, including Dr. La Posada, the medical examiner they hired. And she said she doubts there was a collision. Same thing with the accident reconstruction expert they hired. What about the state's testimony from the medical examiner and their witnesses as to whether or not there was a collision?
Well, you had the state call the medical examiner who said she couldn't conclude that Mr. O'Keefe was hit by a car and that his injuries weren't consistent with that. You had Alan Jackson put up an x-ray which showed there's no broken bones in the arm, which you would expect if a car hit him going 24 miles an hour in reverse. So there are no experts really who can say definitively that Mr. O'Keefe was struck by a vehicle. And that's a hard hurdle for the state to overcome when their whole case revolves around exactly that fact.
Okay, let's hear Hank Brennan. He's the special prosecutor brought in. This is his, not Hank Brennan, rather. Alan Jackson is the defense lawyer wrapping up closing arguments today, talking about just what you're talking about. Play it.
The Commonwealth has struggled to try to prove that John O'Keefe ended up in Brian Albert's front lawn because he was struck by a vehicle. They have failed. They cannot and they will not ever be able to prove that John was struck by a vehicle beyond a reasonable doubt and to a moral certainty, because the science does not lie, the medical evidence does not lie, the physics do not lie. Their investigation was flawed from the start because their investigator was corrupted from the start by bias, personal loyalties. Folks, they cannot prove a collision. John O'Keefe was not hit by a car. There was no collision.
Okay, I guess you see that as pretty compelling, Austin. Hank Brennan, as we said, is the special prosecutor brought in. He's still delivering his closing arguments, but here's a little clip of it from the other side. This is the state going and continuing right now. Play it.
One person who could help him that morning was this defendant right here, Karen Reed. And she made a decision. In her Lexus with the shattered taillight, debris field all over the front yard, and John O'Keefe lying helpless like a child on the front yard, she made a choice. She didn't call 911. She didn't run to his aid. She didn't knock on a door. She made a decision about herself. In her Lexus, she drove away. She was drunk. She hit him, and she left him to die. She was drunk. She hit him, and she left him to die.
Equally as compelling, Austin, and believable, wouldn't you say? I mean, sometimes the simplest explanation is the one that's right.
Well, what they have going for them is, why did she reverse her car at the exact same time or in that same time frame at which Mr. O'Keefe stops moving around and the cell phone starts to get colder and colder. And you line those things up and you present it in a very simple way. What they have against them is a shoddy police investigation, and that's why this defense team has been able to poke so many holes in their case. So which way the jury's going to see it, I guess we're going to find out soon.
Reasonable doubt. I mean, all of this is unfolding on a lawn, 6 o'clock in the morning. Police lights, police radios blaring back and forth, people screaming, chaos. And the 2 people in the house who live there never come out the door? And nobody knocks on the door to go get them?
Exactly. And the police find a body in the front lawn of a house and they don't investigate what's inside of that house.
Yeah.
Why don't they go in? Why don't they talk to the people in the house and ask them, what's happening here? Can we take a look around? They'd have no investigation done inside of that house. And that's a real problem. So that's something that the defense harped on in their closing as well.
All right. Dan, just put up the closing arguments again. This is Hank Brennan, special prosecutor brought in for this. He's making his closing arguments. He should be wrapping up pretty soon because the judge wants a quick lunch break, and then she's going to instruct the jury. Let's just listen in if we can on this.
These are the core of our community. Mr. Nuttall, this is what he does. He rushes to go help. He's the first person on his knees. He doesn't know this person from anybody. But to him, it's another human being. This is his passion. Katie McLaughlin, first responder. This is not just a profession, it's her life. Yes, she knows Caitlin Albert. Do you think she went there that night at a party and set up a murder and came back?
I get what he's trying to do. Listen, the other side is suggesting these are dirty cops. They did that in the first trial more so than this one, and he's trying to rehabilitate them. No, they're not. They're lifesavers. They're heroes. Okay, when the judge's instructions come, how critical is that for the progress in this case?
The judge's instructions are obviously an important part of the case. She'll instruct the jury about reasonable doubt. She'll instruct them about the elements of each one of the charges, what the prosecution has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt for them to prove each charge in the case. And that's what the jury will take back with them. And they'll take the law and they'll take the evidence and they'll need to come to a verdict based on those 2 things.
And do they have options? It's a murder case. Do they have options for lesser?
There are a number of different charges. There's the manslaughter charge. There's the operating under the influence, death resulting charge. So they will have options as far as which, if any, they're going to find her guilty of.
Yep.
And you may see them splitting a verdict, but I think more likely than not, they're going to be back there determining, was she hit by this car? Was John O'Keefe hit by Miss Reed's vehicle? If he was, probably they're going to find her guilty of one of the 2 charges. But if they don't think there was a collision, it's going to be a not guilty down the board.
Okay. I'm not going to ask you for a prediction because it's too early. We'll see. They may have an hour, get in an hour, maybe 2 hours later today. And then we'll be talking to each other next week. All right, Austin, thanks for joining us. Austin, Dana, our legal analyst, along with a few others. And NBC 10's Katie Benoit is also up there. And we'll see you on the news at 6.
The trial captivating a nation.
John O'Keefe's niece testified the juvenile recalled Reed and O'Keefe fighting in the weeks leading up to the Boston police officer's death.
There was a trip to Aruba where Karen Reed accused O'Keefe of kissing another woman, and there was a big argument. She said that things got progressively worse after that. There was a lot of fighting, a lot of voice raising.
The prosecution is trying to establish the fact that there was tenseness between John O'Keefe and Karen Reed.
NBC 10 News has the latest on the retrial of Karen Reed.